Captain Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the Time's Defiant Horizon asterisk, watching the stars through the main viewport. His ship was old, built 30 years ago as a colony transport. Now it carried weapons instead of farming equipment. The crew had welded armor plates over the original hull. They had mounted railguns where cargo bays used to be. It was not much, but it was what they had. "Captain, the transmission is coming through again," Nari said from her station. She was young, barely 25, but she spoke 14 alien languages. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls. "It's from Admiral Taejin. Coalition forces. Same message as before." Hyunwoo nodded. He had heard the message 6 times already. The coalition was dying. The Vrelian swarm had pushed them back, system after system. Entire civilizations were going extinct. Billions were dead. The coalition needed help. They were begging Earth to join the war. "Play it," Hyunwoo said. The voice of Admiral Taejin filled the bridge. The aliens' words were translated into human speech by the computer. "This is Admiral Taejin of the Galactic Coalition Defense Fleet. We are requesting immediate military assistance from Earth. The Vrelian swarm has broken through our lines at the Belthera system. Civilian evacuation ships are under attack. We cannot hold them. Please, we need help. We need anyone who can fight." Nari turned off the transmission. Silence filled the bridge. Lieutenant Suman spoke first. She was the weapons officer, thin and sharp like a knife. "Earth's answer came through an hour ago. The vote failed. We're staying neutral. 347 to 289, said Minho from the engine room over the intercom. He was the chief engineer, and he always knew the numbers. Not even close. Hyunwoo closed his eyes. He understood why Earth voted no. Humanity had only joined the galactic community 15 years ago. They were new. They were small. Why should they die for aliens they barely knew? It made sense. It was logical. It was safe. But it was wrong. "Nari, bring up the long-range scanners," Hyunwoo said quietly. The main screen changed. It showed a star system 300 light-years away. The scanner could barely reach that far, but it was enough. Hyunwoo could see the ships. Dozens of them. Small ones. Civilian transports trying to escape. And he could see the Vrelian vessels. Tearing them apart. He watched a transport ship explode. Thousands of lives. Gone in a flash of light. Another ship tried to run. The Vrelians caught it. They always caught them. "Captain?" Suman asked. She knew that tone in his voice. They had served together for 8 years. She knew what he was thinking. Hyunwoo turned to face his bridge crew. Nari, at communications. Suman, at weapons. Junho, at the pilot's controls. Yuna, the ship's doctor, had just walked onto the bridge. They were all looking at him. "I'm taking the ship in," Hyunwoo said. "We're going to Belthara. We're going to help them." Nobody spoke for a moment. Then Junho, the pilot, started laughing. It was not a happy laugh. "Captain, Earth will court-martial us. They'll put us in prison for the rest of our lives. We'll be traitors." "I know," Hyunwoo said. "The ship is not even a real warship." Minho's voice came from the engine room. "We're a colony transport with guns. The Vrelians will destroy us in minutes." "Probably," Hyunwoo agreed. Suman stood up from her station. She walked over to stand beside the captain. "Then I guess we better make those minutes count." She smiled. It was a warrior's smile. "I'm with you, Captain. I'm with you." Nari's hands were shaking, but she nodded. "Someone has to answer that distress call. Might as well be us." Junho spun his chair around. "Well, I always wanted to see if I could outfly a Vrelian. Guess now I'll find out." Yuna, the doctor, looked pale. She had joined to heal people, not to fight a war. But she straightened her shoulders. "You'll need a medical officer." "I'm staying." Hyunwoo felt something tight in his chest loosen. They understood. Thank you. All of you. But I need to tell everyone on the ship. All 847 of them. They need to choose. He opened the ship-wide channel. His voice went to every room, every corridor, every station, on the Times Defiant Horizon asterisk. This is Captain Hyunwoo. You've all heard the Coalition's distress call. You know Earth voted to stay neutral. But I can't stand by and watch people die when I have a ship and weapons. I'm taking the Times Defiant Horizon Times to the Belthara system. We're going to fight the Vrelian swarm. He paused. This was the hard part. Earth will call us traitors. We can never go home. Anyone who doesn't want to come, I understand. The shuttles are ready. I'll drop you at the nearest Coalition station. No shame. No judgment. But anyone who stays, we're going into a war we probably can't win. Hyunwoo waited. He counted to 60 in his head. Then to 100. No one responded on the channel. He was about to speak again when Dongwoo, the Marine commander, came over the intercom. Captain, this is the Marine Bay. All 200 Marines are staying. We've been training for a fight. Let's go find one. Then Jisoo from Intelligence. Analysis team is staying, Captain. You'll need us to find Vrelian weak points. Soo Young, from Navigation. I know routes through spaces most ships can't fly. We'll need that advantage. I'm in. One by one, every department reported. Engineering. Medical. Weapons. Security. Life support. Not a single person asked for a shuttle. Not one. Minho's voice came last. Captain, the fusion core is running at 100%. The skip drive is charged. Just say the word. Hyunwoo looked at his bridge crew. They were smiling now. Scared, yes, but ready. Junho, set course for Belthara system. Maximum speed. Course set, Captain. Junho said. His hands flew over the controls. The Times Defiant Horizon Times turned away from Earth's neutral zone. Away from safety. Toward the war. Nari, send one final message to Earth Command, Hyunwoo said. What should I tell them, sir? Hyunwoo thought for a moment. Then he said, tell them this. You wanted to know if humanity would stand with the galaxy. One ship just gave you the answer. The Times Defiant Horizon Times jumped into skip space. Behind them, Earth continued to debate. Ahead of them, a war was raging, and 847 humans had just decided that sometimes one ship was enough. In the Coalition Command Center, Admiral Taejin watched his scanners. Another transport was dying. His fleet was almost gone. The war was lost. Then, one of his officers shouted, Admiral, new contact. A ship just entered the system. Is it reinforcements? Taejin asked. Hope, fragile and desperate. It's one ship, sir. Human design. They're broadcasting a message. Play it. A human voice filled the command center. This is Captain Hyunwoo of the Earth Ship Times Defiant Horizon asterisk. We heard your call, Admiral. Sorry we're late. Where do you need us? Admiral Taejin stared at his screen. One ship. One human ship against the entire Vrelian swarm. It was insane. It was hopeless. But it was more than he had a moment ago. Welcome to the war, Captain, Taejin said. He didn't know it yet, but everything had just changed. The Corvin Nebula glowed purple and blue on the main screen. It was beautiful, Junho thought. For a place where so many were dying, the Coalition fleet was scattered across the nebula, trying to defend a dozen positions at once. It was not working. Coalition vessels are falling back, Nari reported. She was listening to dozens of channels at once, her face tight with concentration. Admiral Taejin's flagship is badly damaged. They're losing. Hyunwoo watched the tactical display. The Vrelian swarm moved like locusts, overwhelming each Coalition ship with numbers. For every Vrelian that died, 3 more took its place. The coalition fought with energy weapons, bright beams that heated the enemy shields until they failed. But it took time. Time they did not have. "Captain, the Vrelians have spotted us," Suman said. The weapons officer pulled up a new screen. "3 cruisers are breaking formation. They're coming for us." Yuna, standing at the back of the bridge, gripped the railing. She had treated injured crew during training accidents, but never battle wounds. Never real war. 3 against 1, she whispered. "Better odds than I expected," Junho said. The pilot was already checking his flight patterns. "Captain, I can try to lose them in the nebula gas." "It might work." "No," Hyunwoo said. "We didn't come here to hide." "Suman, status on the railguns?" Lieutenant Sumin smiled. It was not a nice smile. "All batteries loaded and ready. Tungsten rods, just like we discussed. Each one weighs 2 tons, and will hit at 0.15 light speed." "Admiral Tajin is sending us a message," Nari said. "He wants to know what we're doing. He says one ship can't fight 3 Vrelian cruisers. Tell him to watch and learn," Hyunwoo said. "Junho, take us straight at them. Full speed." "Sir?" Junho turned in his seat. "Straight at them? You heard me." Suman, "I want firing solutions on all 3 ships. Wait until we're close. Real close." The times, Defiant Horizon times, accelerated. The old colony ship shook as its engines pushed to maximum. On the screen, the 3 Vrelian cruisers grew larger. They were massive things, covered in organic armor that looked like insect shells. Weapons, ports, glowed along their sides. "They're charging weapons," Suman reported. "Energy signatures match their plasma cannons." "How long until they fire?" Hyunwoo asked. 30 seconds. "And how long until we're in railgun range?" 25 seconds. Hyunwoo nodded. "Hold course." The bridge was quiet except for the humming of the ship's systems. Yuna was praying quietly. Nari's fingers were white on her console. Junho's jaw was clenched so tight it had to hurt, but nobody questioned the order. 15 seconds, Suman counted down. "Vrelians are locked on us." 10 seconds. "They're firing." Plasma bolts erupted from the Vrelian ships. Bright, green fire that could melt through ship armor in seconds. Junho threw the times Defiant Horizon times into a roll. The colony ship was old, but Junho made it dance. The plasma bolts missed. Barely. 5 seconds to range, Suman shouted. 4, 3, fire, Hyunwoo said calmly. The railguns spoke. They did not make the bright, flashy beams of energy weapons. They were simple, ancient, human. They took metal rods and threw them very, very fast. 6 tungsten rods launched from the Times Defiant Horizon asterisk. Each one was accelerated by magnetic coils to 15% of light speed. At that velocity, they did not need explosives. Physics did the work. The first rod hit the lead Vrelian cruiser. The ship's shields flickered. They were designed to stop energy weapons, to disperse heat and redirect plasma. They had no idea what to do with solid metal moving at relativistic speeds. The rod punched through the shield like it was paper. It hit the cruiser's hull. The impact released energy equivalent to a small nuclear bomb. The Vrelian ship's front section simply ceased to exist. Atmosphere vented into space. Internal explosions rippled through the vessel. It went dark and began to tumble. "Target 1 destroyed," Suman said. Her voice was shaking. Not from fear, from excitement. "Firing on target 2. 2 more rods launched." The second Vrelian cruiser tried to evade. It was too slow. 1 rod missed. The other hit perfectly, striking the ship's power core. The entire cruiser exploded in a flash of blue light. Target 2 destroyed. The third Vrelian cruiser was turning to run. Suman fired the last 2 rods. Both hit. The ship's engines exploded. It drifted, powerless and broken. "Target 3 disabled," Suman reported. Then she started laughing. "Captain, We just took out 3 Vrelian cruisers in 4 minutes. The bridge crew erupted in cheers. Junho was shouting. Nari was crying and smiling at the same time. Even Yuna was laughing in disbelief. Hyunwoo allowed himself a small smile. Good shooting, Lieutenant. Junho, bring us around. Let's see if the Admiral needs any more help. Good. A problem. A problem. Good. A problem. A problem. On board the Vrelian command ship, Warlord Threk watched his screens in silence. 3 cruisers. Gone. He had lost 3 cruisers to 1 alien vessel in less time than it took to say a prayer. What are they? His second-in-command asked. What weapons were those? Threk did not answer. He was watching the recordings of the battle. He slowed them down, analyzed every second. The human ship had not used energy weapons. It had thrown metal. Simple, crude metal, but so fast that nothing could stop it. They fight like the Death Worlders of the old stories, Threk said quietly. They do not fight with elegance or honor. They fight to kill. Orders. Warlord? Threk thought carefully. The humans were dangerous. More dangerous than any species he had faced. But they were also only one ship. One ship, no matter how deadly, could not win a war. Send word to all fleets, Threk said. There is a human ship in the nebula. Any commander who destroys it will be elevated to the sacred caste. His second-in-command bowed. At once, Warlord. Threk turned back to his screens. He would let others hunt the human ship. He had a war to win. But still, those weapons, that speed, that efficiency, a small part of him wondered if perhaps the Coalition had just gained something more valuable than 1,000 normal ships. Admiral Tajin's communication came through to the Times Defiant Horizon asterisk. The Coalition officer appeared on the screen. He looked old and tired, but there was wonder in his eyes. Captain Hyunwoo, Tajin said. I have been fighting this war for 30 years. I have never seen anything like what you just did. What were those weapons? Tajin. Railguns, Admiral, Hyunwoo said. We accelerate metal projectiles using magnets. It's old technology for us. Very simple. Simple, Tajin repeated. He started to laugh. It was a bitter sound. We have been fighting with energy weapons for 1,000 years. We perfected them. We made them efficient and clean and precise. And you come with thrown metal and destroy our enemies in minutes. Sometimes the old ways work best, Hyunwoo said. Admiral, what are your orders? Where do you need us? Tajin looked at something off-screen. When he turned back, his expression was different, harder, determined. Captain, the Vrelians are regrouping for another attack. They have 6 more capital ships incoming. My fleet is too damaged to stop them. Can your railguns handle 6 targets? Suman checked her ammunition. We have 12 more rods loaded. After that, we need to fabricate more. It takes time. 12 rods for 6 ships, Hyunwoo said. That's 2 per target. We can make it work. Admiral, fall back and get your people to safety. We'll hold the line here. Captain, you are 1 ship. Yes, sir. But right now 1 ship is all you need. Tajin was quiet for a long moment. Then he bowed, a gesture of deep respect in his culture. Earth did not send you, Captain Hyunwoo. But I am grateful you came anyway. Hold for 10 minutes. That's all we need to evacuate the civilians. You'll have your 10 minutes, Hyunwoo promised. The transmission ended. Hyunwoo looked at his crew. They were ready. Scared, but ready. Junho, position us between the civilians and the incoming Vrelians. Suman, make every shot count. Nari, I want you broadcasting on all channels. Human, Vrelian, Coalition, everyone. What should I broadcast, Captain? Nari asked. Hyunwoo thought about it. Then he said, Tell them this. You wanted Earth's answer. Here it is. We stand with those who cannot stand alone. The Times Defiant Horizon Times moved into position. Behind them, coalition ships began evacuating civilians. Ahead of them, 6 Vrelian warships approached, and on every communication channel in the sector, Nari broadcast Hyunwoo's message. The war had just changed. The Vrelians did not know it yet, but they had just learned to fear humans. Dongwoo checked his rifle one more time. The Marine commander was a big man, built like a tank, and he treated his weapon like a child. Around him, his Marines prepared for boarding action. They wore heavy armor and carried enough ammunition to fight a small war. "This is crazy," one of the younger Marines said. His name was Kiwan, and this was his first real combat mission. Nobody boards a Vrelian ship. Nobody. Nobody human has tried before, Dongwoo corrected. He smiled behind his helmet. That's about to change. On the bridge, Hyunwoo studied the tactical map. 2 weeks had passed since the battle at Corvin Nebula. The Times Defiant Horizon Times had not joined the coalition defense lines like Admiral Taejin wanted. Instead, Hyunwoo had taken the war to the Vrelians themselves. "Jisoo, what do we have?" Hyunwoo asked. Intelligence Officer Jisoo pulled up data on her screen. She was small and quiet. The kind of person you might overlook in a room. But she had already cracked 3 Vrelian communication codes. "Captain, I'm reading a fuel depot in the Keller system. It supplies the Vrelian Third Fleet. Minimal defenses. Just 2 patrol ships. How critical is it?" Sumin asked from her weapons station. "Very," Jisoo said. "Without this depot, the Third Fleet can't maintain their offensive. They'll have to pull back." Hyunwoo looked at Soo-young, his navigator. She was young but brilliant, with an understanding of space that bordered on art. "Can you get us there?" Soo-young's fingers danced over her console. "The standard routes take 3 days. But there's a path through the Theta Corridor. It's filled with radiation and gravitational eddies. Most ships would be torn apart. But not us?" Junho asked from the pilot's seat. "Our old colony hull is built tough," Soo-young said. "And Junho is good enough to fly it. We can be there in 6 hours." "Do it," Hyunwoo ordered. "Minho, how's the skip drive?" The engineer's voice came from below decks. "Ready to jump, Captain. But I need to tell you something about this drive. It's prototype technology. We can jump without navigation beacons." There was silence on the bridge. Every other ship in the galaxy needed beacons to navigate skip space. Without them, you could end up anywhere. Or nowhere. Earth installed it on the Times Defiant Horizon Times as a test, Minho continued. "We're the only ship that has it, which means we can go anywhere," Hyunwoo finished. "The Vrelians can't predict where we'll strike next." "Exactly. We're the most dangerous ship in the galaxy, because nobody knows where we'll appear." "Well," Suman grinned. "I like those odds. Captain, permission to destroy a fuel depot?" "Granted." "Soo-young, take us in." The Times Defiant Horizon Times jumped. Space twisted around them. When they emerged, they were in the Theta Corridor. Radiation washed over their shields. Gravitational forces tried to tear the ship apart, but Junho flew like he was born in space, dancing between dangers that would kill other pilots. 6 hours later, they dropped out of skip space above the Vrelian fuel depot. The 2 patrol ships never had a chance. Suman's railguns spoke twice. Both Vrelian vessels exploded. "Depot is defenseless," Jisoo reported. "I'm detecting automated systems only." "Suman, destroy it," Hyunwoo ordered. The railguns fired again. Tungsten rods slammed into the massive fuel tanks. The depot didn't just explode. It erupted like a small sun, turning the vacuum of space bright white for 10 full seconds. "Third Fleet just lost their fuel supply," Jisoo said with satisfaction. "They'll have to retreat within 48 hours. But Hyunwoo was already looking at the next target. "Where else can we hurt them?" Over the next 2 weeks, the Times Defiant Horizon Times became a ghost. They struck supply lines, destroyed communication relays, and hit repair stations across 6-star systems. The Vrelians tried to predict their movements. They failed. Every time a Vrelian fleet moved to intercept, the human ship was already gone, hitting a target 3 systems away. Warlord Threk watched the reports with growing anger. The human ship had destroyed more Vrelian assets in 2 weeks than the Coalition had managed in 2 years. His commanders were begging for reinforcements. His supply lines were collapsing. And all because of one ship. High Matriarch Velrus demands a report, his aide said nervously. Threk closed his eyes. The High Matriarch was the supreme leader of the Vrelian swarm. Disappointing her meant death. Tell her we are adapting our strategy to counter the human threat. She asks how one ship has caused such damage. Because they don't fight like we do, Threk roared. He forced himself to calm down. They appear from nowhere. They strike hard and fast. They don't defend territory. They don't follow rules of engagement. They are chaos. It was then that Jisoo made her biggest discovery. She was deep in Vrelian communications, listening to encrypted channels. When she found it, a pattern, a weakness. Captain, you need to see this, she said urgently. Hyunwoo came to her station. Jisoo pulled up biological data. The Vrelian swarm isn't just a military force, it's a hive mind. But it's not like bees or ants. They have a command caste, officers that coordinate the regular troops. If you kill the command caste in a fleet, the regular Vrelians lose organization. They can still fight, but they can't work together. How do you know this? Hyunwoo asked. I've been analyzing their battle patterns after we hit them. Every time we destroy a command ship, the remaining vessels scatter. They don't retreat in formation. They just run randomly. Suman was already thinking tactically. So, if we target their command ships first, we can break entire fleets without destroying every vessel, Hyunwoo finished. Jisoo, this is brilliant. Can you identify command ships from regular ones? Yes, sir. They have different communication signatures. Then we're going hunting. But first, Hyunwoo opened the ship-wide channel. Dongwoo, get your Marines ready. We're going to board a Vrelian command ship. In the armory. Dongwoo's Marines went silent. Then, someone started laughing. Then they all were. Not because it was funny, but because it was insane. And they were going to do it anyway. The target was a Vrelian command carrier in the Helios system. It was huge. Bigger than 3 coalition battleships combined. And, according to Jisoo's intelligence, it coordinated 6 lesser fleets. That's a lot of Vrelians, Junho said as they approached. Just get us close enough to dock, Dongwoo said over the comm. My boys will handle the rest. Soo-young brought them in from the star's glare, using the radiation to mask their approach. Junho matched velocities with the Vrelian carrier perfectly. The docking clamps engaged with a metal clang, breaching in 3, 2, 1. Dongwoo's voice was calm. The Marines blew the airlock. They poured into the Vrelian ship. The Vrelians inside had never experienced boarding action before. They weren't ready. Dongwoo's troops moved through the corridors like they owned them, pushing toward the command center. The Vrelians fought back. They were fierce warriors when cornered. But humans had something the Vrelians didn't understand. Marines trained for close combat, for room-to-room fighting, for warfare where you could see your enemy's face. Dongwoo shot a Vrelian warrior at point-blank range. He kicked down a door and threw a grenade. He didn't think. He just moved. Years of training. Taking over. His Marines followed. A tide of armored humans, cutting through the ship. Command center ahead, someone shouted. They breached it. Inside, a dozen Vrelian officers stood in shock. They had been coordinating 6 fleets. They had been winning a war. Now they faced armed humans in their own command room. It was over in seconds. Command center secured, Dongwoo reported. Jisoo was right. These Vrelians are different. Bigger, More. Aware. Can you hold it? Hyunwoo asked. Negative. There are thousands of Relians on this ship. We need to go. Understood. Set charges and evacuate. 5 minutes later, Dongwoo and his Marines were back on the Times Defiant Horizon asterisk. Junho pulled away from the carrier. Behind them, the charges detonated. The command center exploded. The Vrelian carrier went dark. Across the Helios system, 6 Vrelian fleets suddenly lost coordination. Ships that had been moving in perfect formation began to drift. Some fled. Some attacked each other in confusion. The coalition forces, which had been losing, suddenly found themselves winning. Admiral Taejin sent a message. Captain Hyunwoo, what did you do? The Vrelian fleets are collapsing. We found their weakness, Admiral, Hyunwoo replied. We're sending you the data. Target their command ships first. It breaks their formation. This could change the entire war. That's the idea. But there was a cost. Hyunwoo received another transmission, this one from Earth. It was marked as official communication. He read it alone in his quarters. The words were clear. Earth government officially condemned the actions of the Times Defiant Horizon asterisk. They were declared rogue, traitors. They could never come home. But at the bottom of the message, hidden in the data stream, was something else. Coordinates. Supply cache locations. Someone on Earth was helping them secretly. Hyunwoo smiled sadly. They were traitors. But they were Earth's traitors. And they were winning a war. Jisoo stared at her screens and frowned. Numbers didn't lie, and these numbers said the Vrelians were planning something big. She had been tracking fleet movements for 3 days, watching ships gather from across the war zone. Captain, they're hunting us, she said. And I mean really hunting us. Hyunwoo came to her station. The bridge crew had been on high alert for weeks now. They all looked tired, but they also looked alive in a way they never had before. Fighting a war did that to people. Show me, Hyunwoo said. Jisoo pulled up the tactical display. Red markers filled the screen, each one representing a Vrelian warship. 47 ships, all converging. They're searching a grid pattern across 5 systems. And look at who's commanding them. She highlighted one ship. The name appeared. Fleet Marshal Krenth. He's their best tactical mind. Never lost a major battle. The Vrelians are sending their finest to kill us, Suman whistled. 47 ships. That's a lot of firepower. We've been hurting them, Junho said from his pilot seat. Taking out fuel depots, command ships, supply lines. Of course they want revenge. It's more than revenge, Jisoo said. Look at the intercepts. High Matriarch Velris personally ordered this. She's offering a massive reward. Elevation to the sacred caste for whoever destroys us. That's like being made a god in their culture. Yuna, who had been treating minor injuries in the medical bay, spoke up. Can we run? Just jump away and hit targets somewhere else? We could, Hyunwoo said slowly. But running isn't winning. Jisoo, if we took out this fleet, what would it do to the Vrelian war effort? Jisoo calculated quickly. It would cripple them. That's almost a quarter of their remaining naval strength in one place. But Captain, it's 47 against 1. The math doesn't work. The math never works for us, Suman said. She was smiling. That's kind of our thing. Hyunwoo walked to the center of the bridge. He thought about the civilians they had saved. The coalition forces that were finally pushing back. The supply lines they had broken. One ship had done all that. What could one ship do with the right plan? We're not running, he announced. We're going to give them exactly what they want. A chance to kill us. Soo-young, I need a system. Something with lots of cover. Asteroids, debris fields, anything that makes them crowd together. The navigator's eyes lit up. She understood. The Aethon system. It's got a dying star surrounded by asteroid fields. Radiation storms every few hours. It's a navigational nightmare. Perfect. Minho, can we fake damage to our engines? The engineer's voice came over the intercom. Sure. I can make it look like we took a bad hit. Why? Because we're going to let them catch us. Junho, I want you to limp. Make it look like we're barely flying. You want to use us as bait, Junho said. It wasn't a question. Yes, Nari, start broadcasting false telemetry. Make it look like our skip drive is failing. We're wounded and desperate. The Aethon system is our only refuge. Nari's hands shook as she programmed the false signals. Captain, if they realize it's a trap, then we'll be dead, Hyunwoo said simply. But if it works, we'll break their fleet. Dongwoo, I need your Marines ready for anything. Jisoo, keep monitoring their communications. And Minho. He paused. I need you to do something crazy with those asteroids. In his engineering bay, Minho started to grin. How crazy are we talking? Remember those mining charges we loaded on Titan Station? The ones we never used? Oh, Minho said. Oh, that kind of crazy. I love it. The Times' Defiant Horizon Times jumped to the Aethon system. They broadcasted distress on all channels. Engine damage. Skip drive failing. Requesting sanctuary. The ship limped toward the asteroid field, trailing false power readings. Fleet Marshal Krenth received the reports and couldn't believe his luck. The human ship was damaged, vulnerable. He had 47 warships. This was it. The hunt was over. All ships. Converge on the Aethon system, he ordered. Surround them. Leave no escape route. We end this today. I want Sing. I want sighted A3. The Vrelian fleet jumped in. 47 massive warships dropped out of skip space around the asteroid field. They formed a sphere, surrounding the Times' Defiant Horizon asterisk. There was no way out. Krenth opened a communication channel. Human Captain, this is Fleet Marshal Krenth. You are surrounded. Surrender your ship, and we will grant you honorable death. On the bridge, Hyunwoo looked at his crew. They were all there. Sumin at weapons. Junho at the controls. Nari at communications. Jisoo monitoring enemy signals. Su-young ready to navigate. Yuna prepared for casualties. Minho, in engineering with his hand on the detonator. Tell him no, Hyunwoo said quietly. Nari transmitted the response. Just one word. No. Krenth's mandibles clicked in anger. Then you will die. All ships. Prepare to fire. Destroy that ship. Captain, they're charging weapons, Jisoo said. All 47 ships. They're not taking chances. Good, Hyunwoo said. That means they're all here. All bunched up. Exactly where we want them. Minho. Light them up. In the asteroid field, 300 mining charges detonated simultaneously. Minho had spent days attaching them to asteroids, carefully positioning each one. When they exploded, the asteroids didn't just break apart. They became weapons. Fragments of rock, some as big as houses, shot through space at lethal velocities. The Vrelian fleet, packed tight in their sphere formation, had nowhere to dodge. Asteroid fragments slammed into shields. The shields, designed for energy weapons, tried to deflect solid matter. Some worked. Most didn't. Now, Hyunwoo shouted. Junho, full burn. Right through the debris field. You're insane, Junho yelled. But he was already doing it. The Times, Defiant Horizon asterisks, engines, roared to life. The ship's kinetic barriers, designed for colony work in debris fields, activated at maximum power. They plunged into the exploding asteroid field. Rock fragments the size of cars bounced off their barriers. Smaller pieces harmlessly scattered. The old colony ship, built tough for exactly this kind of environment, pushed through the chaos. Behind them, the Vrelian fleet was in disaster. Ships collided trying to avoid the asteroids. Shields failed under the bombardment. A cruiser took a direct hit to its engines and exploded. Another lost power and drifted helplessly. Suman, target their command ships, Hyunwoo ordered. Jisoo, mark them. On it! Jisoo's fingers flew. I'm tagging them now. The railguns fired. In the chaos of exploding asteroids and panicking ships, the tungsten rods found their marks. Command ship after command ship went dark. Without coordination, the Vrelian fleet fell apart. 17 ships destroyed, Suman reported. 22 damaged, they're breaking formation, but they weren't done yet. A Vrelian battleship, bigger than the rest, powered through the debris. Fleet Marshal Krenth's flagship. Its weapons locked onto the Time's defiant horizon asterisk. Incoming fire! Nari screamed. Plasma bolts tore through space. Junho twisted the ship hard. One bolt missed. The second grazed their starboard side. Alarms blared. The medical bay reported casualties. How many? Hyunwoo asked, his voice steady despite the chaos. 17 injured. Yuna's voice crackled over the comm. None critical. I need 10 minutes. You'll have it, Suman. It's too heavily armored, Captain. Railguns might not penetrate. Hyunwoo thought fast. Then we don't shoot the armor. Target its weapons ports. Right when they charge up. Suman understood immediately. Vrelian plasma weapons needed to charge before firing. That moment, when the weapons ports glowed with energy, they were vulnerable. Locking on, Suman said. Wait for it. Wait. The battleship's weapons glowed bright green. Charging for another shot. Suman fired. 2 tungsten rods streaked through space. They hit the weapons ports exactly as the plasma reached critical charge. The battleship's own weapons exploded internally. Fire ripped through the ship's interior. Secondary explosions followed. Fleet Marshal Krenth had only a moment to understand what had happened before his flagship tore itself apart. The remaining Vrelian ships fled. 8 ships jumped away. The rest were dead or dying in the asteroid field. Status, Hyunwoo called out. Reports came in from all stations. Hull breached in 3 sections, but sealed. Engines at 70%. Weapons, operational. Life support stable. And incredibly, only 17 injured. No deaths. Junho let out a breath he'd been holding for what felt like hours. We just destroyed 39 Vrelian warships. 39, Nari repeated. She started crying. We did it. We actually did it. Jisoo was monitoring Vrelian communications. Captain, you need to hear this. It's High Matriarch Velris. She's ordering a general withdrawal from Coalition space. What? Suman said. All of them? All of them. The cost of hunting us. She says it's unsustainable. They've lost too many ships, too many resources. The war is over. The bridge went silent. Then someone started clapping. It was Yuna, covered in blood from treating the injured, but smiling. The applause spread. Every station, every crew member, they had won. One ship, one crew. But Hyunwoo wasn't celebrating yet. A new message was coming through from Coalition space. Vice Admiral Hana, a Coalition officer, appeared on screen. Captain Hyunwoo, the Coalition High Council has a request. The Vrelians will withdraw on one condition. Your ship must leave the galaxy. They're afraid of you. We all are. A little. Hyunwoo looked at his crew. His people. They could never go home to Earth. Now they couldn't stay with the Coalition either. Understood, Admiral. We'll go. Where will you go? Hana asked quietly. Hyunwoo smiled. Somewhere new. Isn't that what humans do best? 3 months after the battle at Aethon System, the Time's defiant Horizon Times drifted in neutral space. The ship was quiet. Too quiet. Hyunwoo walked through the corridors and saw the faces of his crew. They had won a war, but they looked lost. Nari found him in the observation deck. She was staring out at the stars like she had been doing for days. "Captain, we got another message from Earth." "And?" Hyunwoo asked, though he already knew, same as the others. "They thank us for our service. They condemn our methods. They say we can never come home." She wiped her eyes. "My parents sent a private message, though. They said they're proud of me. They just can't say it officially." Hyunwoo put a hand on her shoulder. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry I took you all away from your families." "You didn't take us anywhere," Nari said firmly. "We chose. Every one of us chose. I'd choose it again." The coalition had offered them citizenship, medals, honors, a parade through every major world. But it came with conditions. They would have to decommission the Time's Defiant Horizon asterisk, let coalition officers study their weapons. Essentially, become pets, heroes in a cage. Hyunwoo had declined, politely but firmly. They hadn't fought for glory. They had fought because it was right. In the engine room, Minho was working on the skip drive. Soo-young sat nearby, plotting courses to nowhere in particular. They had been doing this for weeks, planning escape routes they would never use. "Found anything interesting?" Minho asked, without looking up. "There's a sector beyond the galactic rim," Soo-young said. "No claimed territories. Some habitable worlds according to the old survey data. It's empty space. Frontier." Minho stopped working. "How far?" 6 months at our best speed. Maybe less if I can find the right paths. And then what? We settle down? Become farmers?" Minho laughed bitterly. "We're soldiers now. Warriors. What do warriors do in peacetime? They find a new purpose," Soo-young said quietly. "Or they make one." In the training bay, Dongwoo drilled his Marines. They moved through combat exercises with precision. But there was no enemy to fight. No mission to complete. The Marines were restless. They had tasted battle and found they were good at it. Now what? A young Marine named Kiwon approached Dongwoo after the drill. "Commander, is it true? Are we really leaving the galaxy?" "Looks that way," Dongwoo said. "The Vrelians won't make peace unless we go. And we're not welcome on Earth. So yeah, we're leaving." "Good," Kiwon said. Dongwoo looked at him in surprise. The young Marine smiled. "Commander, my whole life I've been told what to do, where to go, how to think. But out here, beyond everything, we can be anything we want. We can build something new. That doesn't scare me. It excites me." Dongwoo realized the kid was right. They weren't running away. They were running towards something. A message came through from Coalition Space. It was marked urgent. Hyunwoo read it and then called a meeting. The entire crew gathered in the main cargo bay. All 731 of them. They had started with 847. Some had died. Some had chosen to leave when the coalition offered asylum. But 731 remained. "I got an offer," Hyunwoo said. "From coalition citizens. Not the government. Individual people. 4,000 of them want to join us. Different species. Different worlds. They want to come with us when we leave." Murmurs ran through the crew. Suman spoke up. "Why would they leave everything to follow us?" "Because we showed them something," Hyunwoo said. "That one ship, properly motivated, can change history. That doing the right thing matters more than doing the safe thing. They want to build something new, something better, and they want to do it with us." Junho laughed. "So we're not just a ship anymore. We're a movement." "Apparently," Hyunwoo said. "But I wanted to ask you all. This is your ship too. Do we take them? Do we start a colony out beyond the rim? Or do we just fade away?" The vote was unanimous. They would go. They would build something new. 6 months later, the Time's Defiant Horizon Times orbited a green world beyond the galactic rim. It had oceans, and forests, and mountains. No name, no history, just possibility. The ship had been joined by 17 other vessels, all carrying coalition citizens who wanted to start fresh. Hyunwoo stood on the planet's surface for the first time. The air was clean. The sky was blue with a hint of purple. Behind him, construction crews were building the first settlement. Humans worked alongside aliens from a dozen species. There were no governments here yet, no militaries, just people trying to build something good. Nari approached him. She was older now, lines around her eyes from stress and war, but she was smiling. We got a transmission from someone calling themselves Ambassador Kiwan. Apparently Earth sent him to negotiate with the coalition. Humanity is a full member now. Good, Hyunwoo said. They'll be safer that way. He asked about us. Wanted to know if the times-defiant Horizon times would ever return. What did you tell him? I told him we found home. It's just not where he expected. That night, the crew gathered for a meal. It was a tradition they had started during the war. Once a week, everyone ate together. They told stories. They remembered those who had fallen. They planned for tomorrow. Yuna had set up a clinic in the settlement. She was training locals to be medics. I've never been this busy, she said. And I've never been happier. No battle wounds. Just people who need help. Channel. Junho had started a flight school. Colonists wanted to learn to fly in the New World's atmosphere. I'm teaching kids how to do barrel rolls, he said with a grin. Their parents hate me. Minho and Soo-young were married now. They were planning to build the colony's first power station together. Civilian work, Minho said. Never thought I'd miss it. But it's good to create, instead of destroy. Dongwoo's Marines had become the colony's security force, but they spent most of their time helping with construction. Turns out, Dongwoo said, teaching people how to defend themselves is more satisfying than doing all the fighting for them. 10 years passed. The colony grew. More ships arrived from coalition space, carrying people who had heard the stories. The colony became a city. Then, cities. Plural. They called the world New Hope. It was a simple name, but it felt right. Hyunwoo was older now. Gray in his hair. Lines on his face. He had grandchildren. His daughter had married a coalition engineer. Their kids were half human, half alien. A new generation. He sat in his small house on a hill overlooking the first settlement. The times-defiant Horizon Times was in orbit above, maintained as a monument. Sometimes tour groups visited it. Veterans told stories to wide-eyed children about the ship that won a war. Nari visited him often. She ran the colony's communication network now. We got a message from Coalition Space, she said. It's a request. They want to send students here. To learn from us. Learn what? Hyunwoo asked. We're not warriors anymore. No. Nari agreed. But we're proof that individuals can make a difference. That one person, or one ship, or one choice, can change everything. They want their people to understand that. Hyunwoo thought about it. Then he smiled. Tell them yes. But they have to work. No tourists. If they come here, they help build. I'll tell them. Nari turned to leave, but Hyunwoo called her back. Do you ever regret it? Leaving Earth? The war? All of it? She thought for a long moment. Every day, she said honestly. But not about this. Never about this. We saved millions of lives. We built something beautiful. We showed the galaxy that humanity doesn't just survive. We thrive. We make impossible choices, and somehow make them work. She smiled. No, Captain. I don't regret it. After she left, Hyunwoo sat alone with his thoughts. He thought about that day so long ago, when he watched civilian ships dying. When he made the choice to act instead of standing by. Earth had called him a traitor. The coalition had called him a hero. But he was neither. He was just a man who couldn't watch people die when he had a ship and a crew willing to fight. In Coalition space, the story of the times, Defiant Horizon times, had become legend. Military academies taught tactics based on their battles. The concept of asymmetric warfare had been redefined. There was even a doctrine named after Hyunwoo, teaching that proper motivation and creativity could overcome numerical superiority. Earth had a more complicated relationship with the story. Officially, the Times Defiant Horizon Times remained a rogue vessel, but unofficially, every military officer knew the truth. When it mattered most, one human ship had done what an entire government couldn't. The Vrelian remnant, now peaceful members of the coalition, had their own version of the story. They told it to their young as a cautionary tale, about how pride and aggression had led them to disaster, about how they had mistaken restraint for weakness, about how the scariest enemies were not the ones who threatened loudly, but the ones who acted quietly and decisively. On Coalition Memorial Day, there was always a ceremony. Representatives from every member species gathered. They honored the dead from the war, and they always left one empty chair at the main table. It was for the crew of the Times Defiant Horizon *, the ship that fought when no one else would, the humans who left everything behind to do what was right. Hyunwoo stood on his hill and watched the sun set over New Hope. It painted the sky in colors that didn't exist on Earth. Tomorrow, more ships would arrive with new colonists. The city would grow, life would continue, and somewhere in coalition space, another war might start. That sometimes, all it takes is one person willing to act, one crew willing to sacrifice, one choice that changes everything. Hyunwoo went inside. His family was waiting. Dinner was ready. His granddaughter wanted to hear stories about the war. She always did. And he would tell her. Not about glory or heroism, but about ordinary people who chose to do extraordinary things, because that's what humans did. They saw the impossible and decided to try anyway. They looked at overwhelming odds and said, "Let's see if we can beat them." They stood at the edge of the abyss and took the first step. One ship had entered a war, and the galaxy had learned to respect the species that flew it. The end.